Okay, so we're Saturday, and a week Monday I get my summer buck tag. So I'm honing my hunting capabilities and setups at the same time as having a little Saint-Quentin and a fag. So I'm going to talk you through it briefly. Briefly is never an easy thing with Jonesy. So the shrew's not strung because at the moment I have a tendonitis in my elbow from splitting wood, and it's going, but I shot quite a few arrows with some American friends last week. I was teaching them how to shoot, and in fact she was fucking brilliant. From 15 yards, after shooting like 9 arrows with a Cheyenne, she was putting 7 arrows in Barry, half of them in the kill zone, so potential there. Anyway, so because I shot too much after having split too much wood, I've got a bit of a tendonitis that's just going away. So I'm not shooting at the moment. So I'm setting stuff up. So I can take 5 in the Great Northern in the shrew. So I've got 4 blades and a blunt. The idea is, somebody said, I don't know, somebody has a habit of when they shoot an animal, firing a judo point in the direction that they came, so that you don't lose that arrow and it shows you the direction, because in the heat of the moment you can forget. So I used to carry around a judo point as my 4th arrow in the 4 arrow quiver there, and the 5th arrow in the 5 arrow quiver there. But they make a fucking racket when you're walking around, judo points. They rattle, and when you shoot, they rattle. They're shit for that. So I've stuck these blunts on there that I originally got for shooting birds. And if there's a pigeon that goes in the way of a shot and I'm bored, I might take a pigeon. So there we go. So the shrew has 2 of those and 2 of those, and I'm in the process of razoring them up. I'm going to retire these arrows as only hunting arrows. So the blunt is obviously the yellow one, and the rest of them have lighted nocks on. The blue ones were too big for the shaft, and that red one was too little, so they're in between. I mean, they're great arrows, the Partisan Extremes from Bodnik bows, but they haven't yet developed a lighted nock that fits in them. They're too fat for the slimmest ones, and they're too thin for the next ones up, so I think that's a bit bollocks. So you're better off getting bigger ones and then sandpapering them down and sticking them in down the smaller one and putting some duct tape around it. So there we go, that's the shrew setup. And the Cheyenne, same thing. Oh, and I put reflective tape around the end. So I've got 3 with the kudos on, and then the blunt, and that's the white one. There you go. I've just changed the string on the Cheyenne, which is why she's strung, and put another ball on there, because I realised when the Americans were here shooting that she makes a hell of a lot of noise compared to the shrew. So I put that on, but because of my elbow I haven't shot it yet, and I put a temporary duct tape nock on there. So I'm sharpening them up, and these arrows are retired as my hunting arrows, and I will not use them in a target. I know they're fucking bang on, and that's it. So as far as numbers go, I made myself a little post-it. The Cheyenne, so they're 465, so that's 11.6 grains per pound, 24 FOC. The shrew There's 11.7 grains per pound, 22.6 FOC, because there are lighted knocks on there. That's the only thing that changed it. So they're pretty much exactly the same setup, just slightly different weights. And everybody says, like all the French say, 40 pounds isn't enough to shoot a deer. I mean, the deer here are small. The roe deer are small. They're nowhere near the size of whitetail or anything bigger than that. And I've shot a field tip out of the cheyenne at 20 yards, skimmed it off. This one I was first shooting, skimmed it off the path next to the back window in the north, and then it went through a drain pipe, one of those plastic drain pipes. So it's cylindrical. It went straight through one side and poked 3/4 of the tip out the other side of this drain pipe, from 20 yards and with a skim off the fucking floor, and it still penetrated all of that. So with a razor sharp kudu on there, it's not going to have a problem going through a fucking roe deer here. So that's the setup bow wise. Tactic wise, I've been round. I did a load of videos the other day, but they're shit, not worth watching. So down the bottom of the garden there, all the way down the bottom, I've got a tree to sit behind on my stool, and a bunch the other side of it, depending on the wind, I've got a big hole that I've trimmed in the fougere, which are ferns, so I can get them from both sides, and they come up off the road, and there's a path up there that's used every single day. So that's that. Down in the bottom of this ash tree here, next to my veg garden, I've made another site. I've trimmed around the back of that so I can sit behind the tree on the stool, because they come out of the woods there and are beginning to nose around my veg garden. But there's lots of passage out of the woods just there, so it gives me a shot there, and if they come up behind me, it gives me a shot there. My tree stand is halfway up the hill. I've got another site right up the top that I've cleared out and cut, and the tree stand could be hunted from the ground as well. There's a wall underneath the tree, behind the tree stand, and I can just sit there on my stool and pop up and bing. So that's good. I'm halfway down the slope on the way down to the stream that way. I've set up another one where there's a big run. Opposite that, up the road, I've set up another one where there's a big run. All I've done is I've gone and flattened out the ground so that I can put my stool on and sit quietly, and then cut all the stuff away from where I'll have a shot. It took ages actually. It took me a whole afternoon doing this whole thing. I thought it would take me a couple of hours, but there's a lot more stuff to cut away than I thought. And then down the bottom of the stream there, in the classic where you saw little piggies jumping over the stream and everything jumps over the stream, I've got one there behind a tree up the stream. I could do with one behind a tree down the stream, because the wind tends to drift down the stream to the river. So that's the last thing I've got to set up. But there we go. Those arrows are retiring. The bows aren't getting shot for another week. I've got, well, Monday I have to be ready, so I think next Saturday, Sunday I'll hone myself in. I've been shooting all right. I don't need to fucking practice. I'll just get these things sharp and then leave that strung for a couple of days. So I'll put the new string on there so it needs to stretch out, and then I'll check the level of that. And there we go. That's me. Confident this summer. Seeing so many bucks around. Know them a whole lot better. Know my land infinitely better. Know where I have to be, when I have to be. It's going to happen. Let's get these things sharp.